Hey guys, it's just few hours till the start of the World Cup, few hours before kickoff. After 4 years of not knowing what to watch on your television, not knowing what to do, 4 years of boredom, it all stops here, you know. And all this being said, I was planning on doing a completely different vlog before start of the World Cup, but last 48 hours in Russia have been mind blowing to be honest, and that made me change my vlog to something completely different right now. And so here goes nothing. It has been an unbelievable turn of events in Russia. Let's start with the mild one. Let's start with the ones we expected: the event, the announcement, and the news that we expected to come from Russia in the last 48 hours. There was the bidding, there was the voting for the 2026 World Cup about to happen in Moscow. we oversaw the we oversaw the events as FIFA decided to make the process a whole new level of transparent. All the members, their votes were made public, as well as the voting was done live, and the results were given live to all of us in the audience. It was an amazing progress from the earlier bidding for Russia as well as Qatar. So, as this was happening live, members of the US, Canada, and Mexico bid, and members of the Morocco bid, their federation heads waited eagerly on the seats. Or it was a nerve-wracking process, and as far as bids go, the US, Canada, Mexico had a strong bid with all their stadiums already in place, and them being able to accommodate for the 48 team World Cup that's supposed to be organized in 8 years time in the country with the winning bid. So given that it's going to be a 48 team World Cup, 48 countries, a whole number of people to accommodate for all that, the US, Canada, and Mexico bid was an extremely intelligently made offer to FIFA. FIFA also stood to make a lot of money from the bid, and it was the safer and the more intelligent option, if you will. The Moroccan bid, there needed 9 stadiums needed to be built, and there were a few other problems. It was in North Africa, which is a region where who knows what might happen in 8 years' time. And God forbid, but it was a risky option, but their bid was pretty strong. They proposed options which, before 48 hours of the voting process, after a complete analysis, there wasn't much between the both offers. Yes, the US, Canada, Mexico offer was airtight package with all things in place, and the option which instantly grabbed your attention. So, what happened during the voting process, you ask? About 60% of the votes were given to US, Canada, Mexico bid, and USA, Canada, and Mexico are the host nations for 2026 World Cup. It's going to be a 48 team World Cup with increased slots for AFC, for CONMEBOL, 6 slots for CONMEBOL, as well as Europe. There's a guaranteed spot for Oceania as well. And talking about Asia, this increased spot means that India have a better chance. Yes, I'm an Indian, and I'm always gonna think that way, and rightly so. India have a their best chance yet to get out the groups and initial qualifying phases into the World Cup. Maybe through playoffs, who knows? But they have the best possible chance to get into the World Cup in 2026. I'm thinking that they are not even thinking. The team is not even thinking of that. They are thinking of Asia Cup right now, which is going to happen next year, and the 2022 World Cup, and how they're going to qualify for that. 2022 World Cup will probably be the last World Cup for Sunil Chhetri as well, Sadly, he'll be 41 years of age when we go to Russia, as well as JJ and few other players would be quite older. So who knows how our team will rebuild for that World Cup. Our under 17s are looking quite promising as well. So yeah, all things considered, still with the increased slots from the Asia, and hopefully if we kick out Australia from Asia, that'd be fantastic. They have their spot in Oceania and they do not deserve to come into Asia and get an automatic spot just because they are stronger than most of the Asian countries into the World Cup. So that's that. Now that they have an guaranteed spot in Oceania, kick Australia back to Oceania. Make this a hashtag if you can, guys, and we need to get behind this to let the real Asian countries get the opportunities to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. This shouldn't happen in 8 years time for 2026 World Cup either. This should happen right now before the qualifying begins for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. So that's a different thing. Now getting back to the events of Moscow, Spain. What a country. Julian Lopetegui, what a last 48 hours he's had, man. Great, tragic, count however you want to. It's been tumultuous to say the least. Spain's chances of winning the FIFA World Cup have got a knock like it never might have had before start of the World Cup in their history. Spain, Julian Lopetegui, Fernando Hierro, Rubiales are all the names we've been hearing for the past 48 hours and maybe even for the next 48 hours up till the Spain's game against Portugal. Yes, it's only 48 hours for Spain's game against Portugal. It's been 48 hours since news broke that Julian Lopetegui is the new coach of Real Madrid. It wasn't even suggested in the Masa newspaper, and it was a complete shock to all and everyone, and a joy for Real Madrid fans because given all that Lopetegui has shown for Spain, and he's also been Real Madrid coach since under 17, under 19, under 20, under 21s, and he's done a pretty good job there. So it was a surprise, but a welcome surprise for Real Madrid fans until 12 hours after the decision, Julian Lopetegui was sacked from his position as manager of Spain by Spain's director, the main head, Rubiales. And it was a complete shock for everyone, man. uh, Agreed that what Rubiales said, that there was anger, there was this belief that after Julian Lopetegui had signed a contract up till the Euros 2 years later, just a few days ago on May 22nd, and agreed that they were not kept in the loop for the negotiations with Real Madrid and all that, and they were informed just a while before Real Madrid were to announce him their signing. All of that's agreed, all of that's maybe unethical and all true. Everything is true, and Rubiales' decision is justified, but Spain are 48 hours away from the match against Portugal. Spain are in the midst of a World Cup. You think that overcome that necessity of winning a World Cup would overcome all these problems and all these internal fights for Spain? They didn't. Julian Lopetegui was turned Spain even after the retirements of big players, golden generations. He's turned Spain into top contenders for this World Cup, and he was given the sack just 48 hours before the World Cup, and that's a shocker. If you ask me, that is a complete shocker. It's completely ruined the chances for Spain. Actually, in this kind of situation, when your backs are against the wall, when everything is going against you, one of two things can happen. Most likely, you are down and out and just wanting to get out of the competition in a way. Not wanting to get out, they want to win there, but given the toxic atmosphere that must be in that Spanish team right now. Yeah, and all around it with the media and everything. Yeah, you just want to get out of that situation, if you will. And the other thing that can happen is all the players, staff, everyone gathers together, puts their heads down, and just marches on and wins the World Cup, or at least march on to the later stage of the competition and show their worth, how good they are. And that happens, Spain would be talked about for many years, even if they don't win the World Cup. That all the situations that happen against them, this team put on this display and went till this stage of the competition. So that'd be great for Spain. That'd be the ideal situation right now. But coming back to Julian Lopetegui's sacking, it was uh, out of nowhere decision from Rubiales, and it was uh, turning heads at Moscow everywhere, and no one expected. I think the domino started falling from Zinedine Zidane's shocking resignation. Maybe even from Ronaldo or Bale's suggestion after the Champions League final that they might leave Real Madrid. I'm thinking that that had something to do with Zidane's decision to step down and let someone else be in charge of Real Madrid. So that led to Real Madrid finding a new coach. That led to Julian Lopetegui, and this is what's happened. Now, if Spain get out of the competition early, who's going to be blamed? Who's going to be the big villain in this? Will it be Julian Lopetegui? Will it be Rubiales? Will it be Sergio Ramos? Everyone loves to hate him, and there's suggestion that he had something to do with Julian Lopetegui being assigned boss at Real Madrid. There are even suggestions that Sergio Ramos tried to calm down Rubiales' anger. They had a meeting and Rubiales refused to calm down, and he anyways sacked Julian Lopetegui. So yeah, maybe everyone hates Sergio Ramos after if Spain depart early from the World Cup. That will be the most likely scenario. Even Real Madrid don't get out of this with a clean slate, you know. There will be some really angry fans at stadiums in Bernabeu and when Real Madrid visit the opposite stadiums if Spain are to get out quickly from the World Cup. But uh, before we get to conclusions, Fernando Hierro, who's a Real Madrid legend, he's a real big Real Madrid legend as a player and as a coach. Not much to talk about, but has experience. He was a general for Real Madrid and has enough experience to turn things around for Spain. But his early press conferences and early talks aren't that great. He is reportedly very close to Julian Lopetegui as well, and he was sporting director at Spain and already in Moscow at the moment. But his early announcement in the media that we should forget about Lopetegui and all of that shouldn't be the way he should handle things. He should be like, we should take the teachings of Lopetegui or take the plans of Lopetegui and move forward and stuff like that, right? Like Lopetegui said, even if I'm sacked from Spain, it's heartbreaking for me, but I hope Spain win the World Cup. That's the right thing to say. And Lopetegui might have even had plans for Portugal's game. He might have even planned a way for the team to play. And I think even if Fernando Hierro has said what he said, he should continue on that plan. And you know, you can't just turn things around in a matter of hours. So yeah, you should stick to a plan and continue with it if Spain are to have any chance at the World Cup. So these were the biggest of the big news coming out of the World Cup, coming out of Russia just before kickoff of the World Cup. I'm excited. I'm excited for the World Cup to start. I want to know what you think about all that's been happening in Russia and the World Cup starting in a couple of minutes, couple of hours, and also let's have a look at the opening ceremony. So, so, uh, from now on, every day up to the end of the World Cup, I'm going to be doing an everyday vlog talking about the happenings, the match previews, reviews, predictions, everything related to World Cup, all news coming from Russia on a day-to-day basis. So stick around for that as well. And yeah, basically, see you around, guys.